We're finally ready. I cannot believe how long it's taken me to try and do this intro. Hey guys, welcome back to another photography video. I know we've gone from drones to photography, but there's a reason for that. Everything's in the pipeline. So this week we're actually going to be looking at Sony's creative styles. Now you're probably thinking, what is that? Well, essentially in this video, I'm going to explain what creative styles are. We're going to be doing a comparison of each style, customization options, image comparisons, pros and cons, and then my final thoughts. If you're new, hello, my name is Demetrius and I create videos on drones, photography, and everything in between, and it's a mix of entertaining and educational content. Subscribe to stay up to date. Now, let's jump into this video. So what are creative styles? This is really easy. Essentially, think of Fujifilm recipes or simulations. Sony has this too. They're just called creative styles. I'm guessing Canon has this, but I don't have a Canon camera. If you're a Canon user, put in the comment section down below what they're called. So with the hype of the new Fuji X100 that's come out, everyone's gone crazy because obviously it's a compact camera, it's portable, and all these film simulations. However, the film simulations are available across their range. Since I've had this Sony a6400, I haven't fully explored it. So I'm using this video or my YouTube channel in a way where I'm exploring the tech that I have. So we have obviously done the DJI 3. Now I'm exploring the Sony a6400 and the options available. So not only I'm learning, but you guys are learning too. And creative styles is one of those that I wanted to explore more to see if it's as good as Fuji's. Is it something that I would use in the future? So last couple of weeks, I've just been playing around by just taking random photos downtown Toronto to see if they're any good and is there anything that I would actually like to use. So let's go on to comparing the creative styles for Sony. Now there are actually 13 different styles versus the 10 available on the X100 and this is because my friend Tom has sent me the different styles. I will get to that in a minute. So the 13 different styles that you have is standard, vivid, neutral, clear, deep, light, portrait, landscape, sunset, night, autumn, black and white, and God forbid, sepia. Absolutely disgusting. Honestly, that's a horrid creative style. Technically it has 12, not 13. Now what I did in the last couple of weeks is in 4 different spots, I took the same actual picture with the 13 different styles just so I can see the comparison. And then afterwards what I did is to be able to bookmark the ones I have because it doesn't actually show you what the style is when you import it into Lightroom. So I just took a picture of my phone, what style I was on, because it does display it on the camera, just not on Lightroom. And then I just set a style and then just walked, took a few photos, changed the style, took a few photos. And that's all it is, just to see if there's gonna be anything. And because I was shooting RAW and JPEG, I wanna be able to show you the difference between what's coming out camera with the baked in style and what you can do when you're post-processing and creating something completely different because you're pushing and pulling colors and effects a lot further with RAW than what you can do with these presets. So if we take a quick look in Lightroom now, I can show you the different styles. So the first one is your standard color profile. And I was shooting all these on the Sony a6400 with the Sigma 16mm, and I did have a CPL on this day as well, just to cut some reflections from the buildings. But this is your standard color profile. It looks good, if you ask me. And then you have vivid, so straight away you can see it's a lot more colorful. Everything pops in the image. We then have neutral, so you can see everything's a little bit more muted. This looks good too. We have clear. I also like this. I mean, they all look very similar so far. You then have deep. You have light, this one is nice. Then you have portrait. Obviously this is meant to be for certain scenarios like portraits, not taking landscapes. You do have a landscape one, so you can see this is the difference here. It's a little bit more purple, I would say, in this one. And then you have sunset, so I would say a little bit more of an orange tinge with this one. So it's specific for sunsets. You have night, obviously this one is aimed at nighttime. Then you have autumn, aimed for specific time of season. Black and white is obviously black and white, and then God forbid sepia, which is absolutely disgusting. Now, how do we get to these options on the Sony 6400s? So first of all, you have to make sure you have JPEG selected on your camera. To be able to do this, if you hit the menu button and on tab 1, page 1 of 14, you can select JPEG or RAW and JPEG. And then if you want to add this to a shortcut button, just like I did on the trash can, you have to find the shortcut. So if you go to tab 2, page 8 of 9, and then select the photo mode, and then within this, now you can select the shortcut you wish to assign it to. I just selected the trash can, but you can select whatever button you wish on your camera. And then you can obviously preset these to any other option you wish. But for the purposes of this video, I needed the quick access to be able to change the creative styles quickly. Or you could even select the function menu and access the creative styles from there. And even the function menu could be customized. Essentially, these are the different ways you can access creative styles on your camera to be able to select them and change them. But it has to be JPEG. Now, when you do access the creative styles, like I said earlier, you have 13 different options. So you just use the scroll wheel. And then with each of these 13, you can adjust the contrast, saturation, and sharpness. You also have 6 custom options. And then within each of these options, you can select a different style. So from vivid to night, or God forbid, sepia. And then with each of that, you can adjust the contrast, saturation, and sharpness. So that was a quick run through on how you can access creative styles on the Sony 6400 or any other Sony camera, and how you can customize each one of these creative styles. Now, if we move on to image comparisons, so here are some of these photos that I've taken throughout my day on Easter Sunday, and then probably the week after as well, because I didn't have enough time in the day to shoot each one of these styles. I ran out of light. So far, if I was to look at these in general, the ones I like the most, vivid is really nice because there's a lot of color there. I would also say neutral and maybe light, between one of those two is good. I think that's pretty much it. The black and white one was cool, I'll give it that. But then again, you can do that with RAW and just have a black and white preset. So there's only like a few of them that I actually really like. So earlier in the video, I did mention that my friend Tom had actually purchased the new Fujifilm X100 6, and he was telling me that how excited he was and it was more portable for him. It made it more convenient for him because all he wants to do is just take pictures of his family, just have fun with it. Doesn't want to do any post-processing. So I totally get that. But I asked him, like, can you like send me the different options with the Fujifilm to see we can have a comparison here? Because he was interested in this video too. So there's only 10 of them, and the 10 you get with the Fujifilm is Astia, Classic Chrome, Classic Negative, Eterna Cinema, Nostalgic Negative, Pro Negative High, Pro Negative Standard, ProRes Standard, Rela Ace, and Velvia Vivid. Now Tom, I did ask Tom if he could send me a quick video on how you can access these settings in the Fujifilm and how you can customize them, because I have a feeling that the Fujifilm has a lot more customization compared to the Sony. But looking at what he sent me, obviously I asked for something generic, not pictures of his family, and they all look, again, very similar, just like the Sony. There's nothing drastic between them. The ones that lean to me the most would be Classic Chrome, Classic Negative, and Eterna Cinema. Those are just the ones that appeal to me, the ones that I can see the differences. The rest all look very similar. So far from what you've seen between the Sony and the Fujifilm, what are your thoughts so far? Has anything caught your eye? Do they look very average? Do they look similar? I'm guessing a lot of people probably lean towards more the Fuji, and I get that, because probably they weren't aware of the Sony ones at the time. But now let's just move on to the pros and cons with using creative styles of Fujifilm simulations. So first of all, the pros. With these photos that you're taking, they are JPEG, so the file sizes are going to be smaller, and then the actual effect is baked into the photo, so you don't need to do any more post-processing. You can literally just share straight on a camera, which is probably going to be very convenient for most people who don't want to sit down, edit for an hour. They just want to be able to share straight away on social platforms or wherever you're planning on sharing it. Both cameras do have customizable options and your own preset options, which is great. So if you have a particular style that you like, but you obviously want to just make some tweaks to it, you can have that preset customized and then just return to that whenever you go out shooting again. But what about some of the negatives with using these creative styles? Well, first of all, the effect is baked in. You can't really change it. I mean, you can edit a JPEG, but it's not really ideal. Even though there's like 13 different options on the Sony and 10 different options on the Fujifilm, there's only like 3 or 4 that are actually nice. Other than that, they all look pretty similar. You're also not getting the most out of the photo, in my opinion, because it's being shot as JPEG compared to RAW, which has a lot more information. You can push and pull the image a lot further, have different effects, have different colors. You can do a lot more post-processing with RAW than you can with the JPEG. And you know what? Even looking between, comparing both Sony and the Fujifilm, I don't see a huge difference, in my opinion again. Also, shooting RAW, your file sizes are a lot larger compared to JPEG. It's just the nature because there's a lot more information in that RAW file compared to a JPEG. Do you know what? Now I think about it, even on your iPhone, I'm guessing Android would have this too, that when you open up the camera app and then you flick down this arrow, and on the bottom right hand side, there's like this creative look. You can literally have the same thing, but vivid, vivid warm, vivid cool, dramatic, dramatic warm, dramatic cool, mono, silver tone, and noir. So even iPhone has them. I have used these before in the past. If I want to edit my image, you can add these. And you don't have to do it beforehand. The great thing is with the iPhone is that when you take an image and you want to change the creative style afterwards, you can do that after you've taken the photo. So you're not stuck with this photo. That's probably the great thing with the iPhone. So let's move on to my final thoughts. Personally, after spending a couple of weeks playing around with creative styles and just testing each style, like I said earlier, only like 3 or 4 of them are actually nice, but would I use them on a regular basis? Probably not. I personally like shooting in RAW and post-processing. However, there's going to be other people that don't like to post-process this and want to do this quickly, so I totally get that. It's down to the individual and what you're after. You can also have a lot more customization and effect options with post-processing than you have with the 13 or 10 presets that are given to you within camera. So you can do a lot more with RAW and change the color completely if you wish, than having to be stuck with what you've got in camera. And I personally don't see much of a difference between Sony and the Fujifilm. There's very little. I'd probably give the edge to Fuji because they do look slightly more varied compared to Sony's, but hey, it's down to personal opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And the other thing I just want to add is that before you go out and buy a camera, ask yourself what it's for. Like, realistically, I like to stay grounded. If I had extra disposable income and money wasn't an issue, of course I would buy the Fuji X100 5 or 6. It wouldn't, like, there's no brainer. I would buy it because I do believe the compactness of it and be able to pull it out and just take an image and not having to post-process. I 100% would go for it. However, in the real world, who has $1,500 or $2,000 to go out and buy a new camera just for the sake of these film recipes, when most of us already have something built in within our camera that you could probably use and they'll be just fine? And then again, if you don't like them, there's always post-processing. So if there's anything you want to learn about the Sony a6400, photography or drones, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, let me know what you think about Sony's creative styles versus Fujifilm. Did you see a difference? Is there anything that you particularly drew your eye to which style you preferred? Or do you prefer to post-process this just like I do? And before I go, remember to check out this video next, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.